starting the video, and you're going to tell us about how you provide instruction here now. So go ahead.
Yes, basically what this area is, and we have several areas where it can be self-study, and we will be having training sessions to come in and focus more on what is being presented here. But basically what I'm presenting here is Centers for Disease Control has presented guidelines for collecting, handling, and testing clinical specimens for coronavirus. So basically what I've provided in here is some of those guidelines as pertaining to, and fact sheets as pertaining to healthcare providers. And if you click on each of the boards that I provided, it goes to the actual website, CDC's website, so they can download and get more information. So this is like putting cooked breadcrumbs down to direct them to the information. So there's a lot of information out there. A lot of my colleagues, they don't have the time to search for the information. So this is their portal to that information, that anything related to corona or the SARS virus. Hopefully I try to place it here. So basically what I've done here, these are fact sheets that CDC has out. Like I say, they can click on it and they'll go to the actual CDC website to be able to read the fact sheets and the guidelines, and even download a copy so they will have it there in their settings.
And if they're in a class, they can talk to each other about it, right?
Yes, they can talk to each other about it. And what on here, that everything basically, any board or just by any object here is applicable would go to a resource. And that's the whole ideal, is provide information. That's what laboratorians like to do. We provide information. We give the doctors information on how to treat their patient, because we tell them what is wrong with the patient based on the testing that we've done. And what I've also done here on this coffee table, and hopefully people will gather around and do some networking, because you have laboratorians from all over the country, as well as the world can come in and visit. But I tried to be putting down papers as I come across papers and magazines where they can click on various publications and pull that information down right into their physical world. So that's my whole vision, was real to virtual, virtual to real. So what I've done here is real to virtual, virtual to real for laboratory medicine. So what my idea is, whatever is available in the real world, making it available in the virtual world so it can be taken back out to the real world for training, for education, and for professional enhancement.
And I suppose if you have students and they have questions, you would be available at some parts of the time, sometime for them to ask the questions, and you could answer them for them.
Yes, what I plan to set up, much to my regret, I had a medical emergency, so we had to delay the opening of the center. But what it has done, I decided to keep it open June, July, and August, and I'll be inviting groups to come in for open discussions just to see the site, to tour the site. But afterward, we'll be having private classes that can come in. I'll be having training sessions in here, and I'll be putting out a calendar of the training sessions for specialized areas and to discuss about the microscope, because I also have a part in here where we talk about the basic microscope, the compound microscope. So it's basically set up to work with students in high school, college, as well as medical professionals. It depends on the level of expertise that will tailor the training to.
Okay, so in other words, if there were high school students, you could talk with them at the level that they are able to understand.
Yes, my interest is high school students, because I decided and desired to become a medical technologist when I was in the 10th grade of high school, which has given me the passion to talk about laboratory careers and promoting laboratory careers awareness. My 10th grade biology teacher told me about becoming a medical technologist. That's where my interest became, and that's what I've focused on most of my career, is a laboratory science. I've found it to be fascinating and quite rewarding, because it satisfies that natural curiosity I have about living cells and the biology of life. And that's why I find microbiology to be quite fascinating. They call me Miss Bug Lady when I do my training in the real world. So that's why you see some places are called here Miss Bug Lady's Museum, Miss Bug Lady's Marketplace. That's my nickname in the real world from some of my students from several years ago.
How would people find you to get the instruction that you are able to provide?
Well, I have, if you noticed by the front door when you came in, I have a social media board that I put up. I have a website and I have a Facebook page and other social media platforms we'll be
Ah,
using. Plus, I'll be sending out announcements to my medical laboratory colleagues, be sent out to various schools, special science departments, things like that as time goes along. Right now, I have a staff of one. I'm an independent contractor, so I my trainings are pretty much I have a pretty much scheduled training, so I know when I have free time to come in and do bring trainings into the virtual. But right now with Corona, most of the trainings that I would have been doing in the real world, I'll be bringing into this virtual setting, which is one of the main reasons to have this complex here, is to be able to bring those colleagues in so we can have discussions on nothing but sit and talk about how the virus has impacted them as professionals. I would love to have a discussion on other laboratorians because I have colleagues who have been working nonstop testing in their various laboratories because the need of testing is great.
oh, yes, indeed. Um, and of course, um, well, your colleagues who are doing that testing, all you would be doing for them is updating them on whatever new information is developing. Is that right?
Yes, and you follow me, let's go to this other wing where it's set up for CDC's information for laboratories. And basis, like I said, each area, I try to specialize the area. In this particular area, it is the CDC's information for laboratories, and it's based on the guidelines and resources that CDC's put out for laboratory personnel who's actually doing the testing and actually handling the specimens and what have you. And again, here, if you click on each board, it will carry you to the actual CDC page or the page with the information that's being presented on the board.
And those are actively CDC managed pages, so they are updated
Yes.
pretty regularly, right?
Yes, that's one reason why I like to use the CDC pages, and I know CDC updates their pages on a regular basis. So I put that page in here so when the clinician comes in or the laboratorian comes in and click on that page, it will be directed to that CDC page with the updated information from CDC. They don't have to say, okay, is this updated? CDC always takes their pages when it was last updated. And as far
Because
as the testing.
the actual tests, new tests become available every so often. And I suppose
Yeah.
at some point the CDC decides they are acceptable and recommends their use for particular purposes. Is that it?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I belong to CDC has a laboratory communication network, and they have a weekly call with laboratories from across the country, laboratory testing companies from across the country. They're literally on this call every week. It's on a Monday, every Monday. They have information on their website, and I probably have a link around here directing people to that. But they're just discussing the various laboratory tests, which test has been approved, which has not been approved, which tests they've been having problems with, if any. And they're discussing the various changes or adaptations that has to be made for the various tests. So it's like a direct line to CDC for the laboratories and the people who are doing the actual testing throughout the United States. So the communication has been going on between the laboratorians. That's one thing about laboratorians. They do like to share information, and they have no problem sharing information. It's a very collaborative community. That's one thing I like about laboratory science.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, um, of course, since these web pages, these signs actually lead to web pages, so
Yes.
they would have the learners would have the web pages available whenever they want them. But if they wanted to talk to you or to other people about them, they would need perhaps to come in here.
Yes, they can come in here. They can send me an email, send me a text message, or send me an IM message. We could schedule a special appointment if someone wanted to bring their classes in. I have a colleague in Jakarta, Indonesia. She texted me one time. She wanted to bring her science class in, so we set it up. No problems. You could bring her science class in, and and just then let them walk around, get a tour. They came into about the laboratory careers. So I have an area set up in the career center, which linked into the various laboratory associations, so people want to get information, special students, about what it takes to become a medical technologist, a medical lab scientist. They can get information in our career center, and there will be another interview another day. But we do have a laboratory career center here if they can get information. Because one of the big things is to encourage young people and older people to come into laboratory science. There's going to be a shortage as years go by, but we're trying to encourage people to come into laboratory science. And this is one way they will learn about what it takes to become a medical laboratory scientist. The certification you have to, the tests that you have to take, the certification you have to have, and other information. Matter of fact, on the table here is one of the magazines that a lot of laboratorians use. This is Medical Laboratory Observance. And I put this a link on their magazine here because they had an awesome article. They're another resource for laboratorians, and that's what I try to do. I try to let this center to be a portal to resources and information for laboratorians, medical doctors, students interested in science, students interested in becoming a laboratory science, and basic students just want to get more information about corona, about the SARS virus.
And the students would then be able to talk with each other as well as their teacher, who would also be present most likely.
Yes. And we even have a location if we want to do some training, and some of the training I'll be doing about the microscope, I can even test them here. I can do proficiency testing here. And I have my microscopes where they can click on the microscope and see different images. Like I said, we can visit that particular location at a different time. Now, what we came in here, we're in the SARS test. This is the SARS testing unit. Now, we could go over to the biohazard unit, which gives more information as well on the biohazard.